Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want.
G'day everybody, it's Seano here and I'm back with some more Supercoach content. We thought we'd jump on and do a live video, our round 22 live chat. We didn't do a trade time video this week, so we'll have a bit of chat about our trades, options, if we've got any, VC and captain options, and everything else going on in the Supercoach world. So if you're out there, jump on there and say hello, and don't forget to subscribe. We're still trying to get to 300 subscribers before the end of the season, and we're still trying to, if you'd like to like the video and leave me a comment down below. I think we might struggle with those subscribers a little bit, with not long to go, and we've still got a few to get to, but we can still try. We've still got a few rounds left. Yeah, so I guess before, if you're out there, give us a chat, but before we do, I guess we'll go through a little bit what happened in my week in Supercoach. So we have a bit of a look at my team. We scored a 2,738. If you want to hear all of this in more detail, go back and check out my review video. I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, yep, so this week 2,738, not too bad. Could have been a little better if we weren't a little bit unlucky. Went up 271 places to a season rank of 6,818. So always happy to see green arrows. Not too bad, not the best, not the worst. I mean, it could be one of my highest scores. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely going to be up there considering it's a record-breaking round, though, with lots of teams around the 3,000 and 3,100 mark. It's not as impressive as it looks, but it's still not too bad. As for our leagues, we made it through one of our draft leagues. So out of 4 draft leagues, we are now through to one of the finals. And in our classic league, unfortunately, we lost. Even with this score, we lost both of our leagues, but we finished in the top 4 of both, so we still got a chance. It's elimination this week, so if we get knocked out, it's all over for us, so hopefully we can win. As for the team, we'll have a really quick run through of the team, who did good and who didn't do good. Malera 108, nice. Sinclair 128, very nice. 126 for Whitfield, very good. Bailey Dale 97, could have been a little bit better. Would have been nice if he had got 3 figures. They all would have got 3 figures in the back line, which would have been good. Mills 125 and Zorko 101. Bont was our vice captain last week, so we got like 302 for our vice captain. Rao 134, very nice. Dacos 110. Butters, unfortunately, here's where we got hurt a little bit. Butters was 45, Brayshaw 101, Bailey Smith and Sheasel. And Marich, here is one of my trades that I'm thinking about, which we'll go into a little bit more in a second. We had Hayden Young here. We brought in Hayden Young and he got injured and had a score of like 12 in the first quarter. So he was subbed out the first quarter after an injury. And so that means this 45 actually had to be included in my team score. So imagine, even if that's just like 100, you can chuck another like 60 points or so on top of my score, and it would have been closer to the 2,800 mark. We had Gorn 131. English smacks out the highest score this season so far, I believe, with a 202. Very nice. Geez, it would have been nice to have both English and Grundy in my team. My opponent had Grundy and had him vice-captained in my leagues, which is one of the reasons I lost, and with his massive 400 captain score. McRae, a little bit worried about McRae and his low time on ground. It seems now Nass has moved into the midfield. McRae's just not getting as much time in there, and it's really affecting his score and his chance to get one of those big ceiling scores. So that's a worry, but there's not much we can do about it. Darcy 119, very nice. Rankin 129, that's excellent. Petrarca, nice to see a 117, that's really good. Warner back down to a 70 after a couple of weeks in a row with 3-figure scores. Just doesn't seem to be cutting it, but I mean, the forward line is not great, to be honest. Forward choices. Caleb Daniel 142, I don't know where this came from, but we'll take it every day of the week. Very nice. Probably his highest score this season, I would say. So, you know, well done, young helmet man. And Tom McCarthy with the 123, that was very nice. So, you know, the team did pretty well. As for coverage, we had Gross got us a bit of a score, Sims got us 23, and Clark got us 39. So, as we said, I am thinking about, so trades, we had one trade left. And unfortunately with Hayden Young, because he only got a score of 12, he lost quite a bit of money, and that didn't give me very much options. So as you can see, I bought him Marich, which is 430, but I've only got 8k left. So basically I had 438, and if we look at who I could afford for 438, it's not many. 430. Oh, it's so close, it's so hard to get it exact. 440 there, okay. So my choices were very limited, and there's only two that I kind of looked at and thought, hey, these two might be able to get me a decent score. So one was Marek, which was here, and the other one was the other Eagles. Tim Kelly is the only one that I saw who I think got around 100. It's got 100 last couple of weeks in a row, but Tim Kelly's, I think can be very up and down depending on how the Eagles players get, you know, how their midfield goes. If they get destroyed, you know, I feel like he could get me a really low score. He's got a couple of really low scores this year, like, you know, for basically an inside mid, he's got a 28, he's got a 71, he's got a 47, he's got a 62. Basically, the last two scores have pretty much been, except for the first round, his best scores of the season. So I think there's a big chance that he might just drop one of those terrible scores. And so the reason I've gone Marich is because, or Marek, sorry, I keep calling him Marich, but it is Marek. I can confirm 100% it is Marek. It's because it looks like he has that halfback, you know, kicking role again. If we look at DFS, Australia, DFS for the stats, and we go to kick-ins, and we go to the West Coast Eagles. So in the last 2 weeks, last week he had 6, and the week before he had 8. Both weeks they were the most, and so it looks like he's gone back to that designated kicker, the number one kicker role, with McCarthy probably being second. But it looks like McCarthy, I watched the game last week, seems to be playing a little bit higher up the field. I saw him near the midfield quite a bit, you know, at least higher, not so right back in the pocket. So I got a feeling with that role, there's more chance that he can get me a decent score. And as we saw, I don't have many other choices. Like, if we go the last 5 rounds, you know, there's just, everyone's injured here. Cade Chandler, do I really want to take a risk on Cade Chandler? I don't think so. You know, Zach Bailey, Shannon Neal's got 2 decent scores in a row, but, you know, you can always drop a low score. You know, Tom Mitchell is, you know, if I knew he was going to play a full game, he might be an option, but I think there's always a chance he can be subbed or, you know, given reduced minutes. Patrick Dangerfield, I guess I could consider. But since he plays a lot more forward these days, he could have a bad game. So I really couldn't see anybody who jumps out and says, pick me. There's no, all the mids I wanted and I could have afforded last week instead of Hayden Young, all went up money. And since Hayden Young lost money, I couldn't afford them. So last week I was looking at Will Day. So I'm glad I didn't go to Will Day because I would have had the same problem I had this week. But there's Will Day. There was Matthew Kennedy, which would have been a good pick, but I went against it. So that would have been good. And LDU, I could afford LDU, but again, now I can't anymore. So, I'm kind of stuck. So I figure I'm an Eagles supporter. I might as well back him in, and that'll give me something to like and to watch while I'm watching the games. So at least I can keep an eye on. I can barrack for Marek and McCarthy. And considering you got a 141 this week, I mean, honestly, I'd be happy with a 90 plus to be honest. So if he can just get me that 90 plus, I'll be very happy with that. And this week they play Adelaide, so I assume the ball is going to be back in the Eagles' back line a lot. So with that in mind, he might get a lot of kick-ins. If Adelaide are a bit inaccurate in front of, a bit wayward in front of the old goals and they're kicking lots of points, he might get a lot of kick-outs. And so hopefully that will give his score a little bit of a buffer. So that's why I'm going there. Plus he's also a bit of a pod. Like I don't think any of my opponents in my leagues are going to have him. Only owned by 5%, so pretty good. Anyway, we're going to have to go with it. Beggars can't be choosy. We're down to 0 trades. We are, like we talked about, we are very keen about our leagues though. So both our leagues we lost last week. Can we go back to, let's go to game day. So I'll show you last week's matchup. Round 21, my opponent scored 2,914. Wow, that's gonna be hard to beat. It was the highest score out of anyone in my league, and so and he's got a very good team. He probably deserves to win. Good, well done, Brad. He actually has 23 primos where I don't, so he really should win. We beat him a couple of weeks ago, and he came back with revenge. And you should see. Look at these scores that he got. Like our unique players, we didn't have a lot of unique players. But all these new unique players just went crazy, We both had Bont, but I had him as captain, so takes out. So Jordan Dawson, 149. Grundy, 400. Wow, that's just massive. Even after my English 202, the 400 really hurts. Marshall, 144. Holmes, 154. And 122 for Clark. So all of his unique players scored a 120 plus. And any day, that's going to be hard to win, even though my team did kind of all right. Dale was a little bit down and McRae was also a little bit down. But even if they had big scores and I got an extra 100, he still beats me. So well done, Brad. This week we will be playing Master Bater. So it's probably a bit tricky for you to see here, but we're down the bottom here. So we lost one. We finished in 3rd position. So we lost and now we play 6 in Jason. We are predicted to win, but that doesn't mean much. If we have a look at this coming week's lineup, I think the game could go either way. So we've got quite a few more uniques this time. As you can see, there's not a play here at the moment for him. And so this score, you can basically just add another 100 to 120 on this score. So, and then, that's going to be, and he's got the captain as Boyd here. So we're actually probably predicted to get right around the same amount. It's just that the teams don't update until the round starts, just so you can't take like a sneaky look at your opponent's team and make changes compared to their team. It waits till the round starts before, if you want to do the sneaky, you got to wait till the round starts. So it could be really close. He's got Holmes. I don't have, a bit worrying there. Merritt, Jackson, Rosie, who probably will be back this week. Gorn, Liberatore, Jordan Dawson versus the Eagles. He's got some potential big scores there. Plus, I'm pretty sure he's got some trades. He's a bit of a trade hoarder. I know Jason very well, good friend of mine, so I'm pretty sure he's got trades up his sleeve. So if somebody is out, or if it's time for him to make a big move, it'll be this week. So if by some miracle Grundy appears in his team or something this week, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, it's going to be a tough match, so good luck to you, Jason, and hopefully good luck to myself, and we can make it through this week of finals, and then have a run at the premiership. For the other match, I only really care about this league. This is the important league, the big league, the league that I run with all my good friends. I'm also in just a general public league. Now, next year, crew, we're going to do a YouTube. Let's do it in English. We haven't had one yet today.
Me fail English?
That's impossible. So we will do a YouTube league next year. So if you're interested in that one, keep an eye out for that. And where all you guys can play along and kick my backside and then laugh and chat and give me a hard time. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? So yeah, we'll definitely do that next year. And so yeah, keep an eye out for that at the beginning of the year. I know we're getting through to the end of this year. If they do, they've been talking about doing a Supercoach finals competition. So we'll be doing that, like a separate competition just for the finals. So we'll be doing that and doing content on that. And then otherwise, I probably won't be doing any type of content, sports related content. No Supercoach related content until the next footy season. Even though I do like other sports, I don't think I have enough knowledge like to do NBL or EPL or AFLW content for you guys. So we'll probably have a break. Maybe we'll do something else. If you just like listening to my voice, maybe check out some of my other videos. But so we'll probably be back. Probably do a video around Christmas time, because that's when the assistant picker comes out. So I wouldn't be surprised if I was one of the ones to get out a video first about who's going to pick. But when the assistant picker comes out, we'll go live and we'll probably pick the best team that we can, or we will make a video one way or the other. Live sounds kind of fun though. We like the live videos. What else we got to talk about this week? Maybe captain and vice captain choices. So let's do it for the community. I did mine for me. We did it in the video, in our review video. But for you guys out there in the community, let's look at some good options. If you want to let me know in chat, who are you going? So personally, I'm going to go Wanganeen Malira into Bont. I think, Wanganeen Malira plays Richmond, St Kilda versus Richmond. So I think Malira or Sinclair could be good choices. And Bont is just in some ripper form at the moment versus Melbourne, who are struggling a little bit. So I think that's a reasonable pick as well. Hey, Matthew, how you going? You in next year, mate? Yep, no worries. Cool. That sounds awesome. Bit scary having you in my league, but that would be great, mate. How are you going? How'd you go this week? Did you get one of these big monster scores? We can have a check your team out again when we in a second if you want. I keep forgetting which is your team. But let me know your team name. I think it's, is it the... Is it the Rio Flaggers? Is that your team? Matthew. Bojangles, of course, yep. Of course, said the horse. So we'll just finish that quick chat about captains, and then we'll get back to your team. Who are you going for captains this week, buddy? So I'm thinking Hawthorn, Collingwood. You could have a go at Dacos, but it could be a tough matchup for him. But I think you could have a go at Dacos. I think the Geelong versus Essendon game has a couple of good options. If you've got Holmes, he's probably been my number one for vice captain option. If you've got Holmes, Bailey Smith is also an option. I'm always a little bit afraid of Bailey Smith. He can score huge, but he also could be a laid out. He could get injured, they could rest him. I just worry a little bit about, as a vice captain option, it's okay because you could always got your fallback as a captain. But, I think if I had Holmes and Smith, I'd be going Holmes over Smith for sure. And then you got St Kilda versus Richmond, like we talked about. You've got Wangan and Malira, Sinclair. Steele started as on the bench last week, so maybe not him. I probably wouldn't go McRae either with his limited time. So I'd probably say those two are the best options in that game. Brisbane and Sydney, well, if you've got Grundy, you just go Grundy. Why wouldn't you? You have to, you just stick with it. Carlton versus Gold Coast Suns. I mean, you could give Rowell or Anderson a go. I think that's reasonable as a vice-captain option. Port and Freo, I don't know if I would pick anyone out of this game. Both Brayshaw and Sarong haven't been killing it in Supercoach-wise, and Butters just got tagged. He might have a comeback, but they might stick someone like a Wagner onto him and tag him again. They might put some effort into him, seeing that he only got a 45 last game. GWS versus North, maybe a sneaky Tom Green. Melbourne versus Western Bulldogs. You got Bont from Western Bulldogs, probably. Melbourne, I think Max Gawn is a viable option. He does well against the Bulldogs. And then, of course, Adelaide versus West Coast. If you've got someone like Jordan Dawson, could be a really good pick. As long as they don't rest him, as long as they're not killing us by so much and give him a bit of a rest in the last quarter or something, but they should really get a big score there. So if you're out there in the community, if I had Holmes, I'd probably be vice-captaining Holmes into Holmes or Grundy would be my ideal options. I don't have either of them, but if I did, they'd be my ideal options into potentially Bont or a Gawn, I think, or a Jordan Dawson, I think would probably be my favourites for this week. Let's have a look, Matthew. What? So you scored 2,779 this week and went up a huge 9 spots from 290 to 281 overall rank. Better green. That's what I thought. I thought I might move up a few more. I moved up 200 spots, but obviously I'm not as high up as you are, so I can move up a few more. It's kind of a bit disheartening when you score such a huge score and you're like, I'm going to move up, and you only move up 9 spots. But 100. Still having a great year though, mate. You still got to be pretty proud of your year. But always green arrows are better than red arrows. I think this is the 3rd week in a row I've had green arrows now, so I'm pretty happy with that. Holmes to Bont, I really like those choices, Matthew. I think that's one of the premium choices. I think you can't go wrong. One of them is bound to have a big score, right? I mean, you'd be pretty unlucky for both of those guys with their matchups, both to fail. I think it's both pretty safe. You had a bad feeling about Rosie, so you changed him to Noah Anderson, got a 146. Very nice. My opponent changed. If we I don't know if you saw, my opponent made the move too. He didn't need to make the move to beat me, but he had Rosie and he traded him out for Holmes, who got 154. So everything he did last week worked out for him, and so there wasn't much I could do. Let's have a look at your team, mate. Bring this over here. So this is Matthew's team, Bojangles FC, ranked 281 overall, and very nice team. Almost hey, Seater. Unter? Hey, Unter, how are you? Going VC Grundy, C Sherry for me. Yeah, that's actually a good choice. I think Sherry will be very good. I wasn't even thinking about him after his little mishap and being out for the last few weeks. But definitely Sherry, definitely an option for captain. Could go bananas versus they're playing. Is it Essendon that they're playing? Versus Briggs, Briggs, who got destroyed last week. So I think they're very good options. Sarong been quite disappointing this year. He has, really. Now, I knew that last year was an up year for him. That's why I went Brayshaw at the beginning of the year. Last year was like a breakout, huge season for him. So it was always going to be hard to back it up, but 75 is really not what you expect, right? You'd think that he is easily, going to get you 100, and on a low day, he's going to get you 90, which he kind of has. He threw in an 80 here, a 97, but especially the last month or so, where since he's come out of the buys with an 84, a 63, and a 95, and a couple of reasonable scores and a 75. Not really what you expect from him. You'd hope that these 60s and 80s and 70s were at least 90s, and then you could probably forgive him, but he'll be cheap next year. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on a few players for next year. And I think also if with Freo boys, if Hayden Young can get his body right, he's going to be very cheap, and he's going to be one of these, around 400k, anywhere between about 380 to 450k players next year, who we're going to be thinking about as mid-price options. And even someone like Will Day also, who's injured and out for the rest of the season, pretty much the rest of the season. I'm already thinking about these players and putting them in the back and locking them in the back of the brain, and thinking that they're going to be pretty good. So your back line's pretty good. Mills is performing for you, very nice. Bont, Dacos, Anderson, Dawson, Butters, Brayshaw, Sarong, and McCarthy playing very nice. Jackson and Gawn, I'll be looking to get Jackson in. But can we trust their injuries? Probably not, Matthew. But as a mid-pricer, I'll be prepared to go there, especially at the beginning of the season. I think me bringing in Hayden Young last week, I kind of rolled the dice that he might make it the last few games without getting injured, and I would have done the same with Will Day, whereas it's probably easier and better to do it at the beginning of the season, because at the beginning of the season you got trades, you can make that trade and get out of it if you need to. Buying into them, I think, is worse than starting them at the beginning of the season. If you start him, like if you start Hayden Young at 400k and he plays 4 or 5 games and scores 100 plus every game, which he well could, he's going to go up to like 550, whatever. And then if he gets injured, you just sell him and move up to the next person, But the only worry is if he comes out and gets injured the first week or the second week, like he did this week. Gross, I hope he's going to get a full game. He played for me, and so I've got him in my team as well. I don't see why you would drop him. There's no real reason to drop him. You might as well give the kids some games. So I hope they play him. Bank a bit of cash and move on. Yeah, Matthew. So that's what I'm kind of banking in the back of my head. Some of these players that are around 400k, which have got injured and look like they're going to be very reasonable. Even people like, someone like, there are some players that look like they're going to be reasonably cheap. Like even Sarong looked like, if he doesn't pick up this form, he'll be less than 550. And even someone like Zach Butters might be 570, 580 at the end of the season, the way we look at it. So, these type of players, I don't really wish that they go bad, but I really don't mind now if a few of these players have a few down games, because it means they're going to be cheaper for us next season. And, I know it's probably not the way to look, but once... hopefully we can get some good value next season. So all over your team, your midfield looks good. You got McCarthy, Jackson. You got McCurch down here. Smith, McRae. You probably got the same concerns with me as McRae, not getting the same amount of midfield time, which is pretty annoying, really, to have. Potentially one of the better midfielders in the league just not getting midfield time. Yeah, I was think the same. I think the same, that if I had trades, I'd be moving McRae on, just because, like, we look at it's so obvious if you look at DFS. If we go to CBAs, I looked at this the other day. Since NASA's moved into the midfield, so McRae went from, in round 17 he was getting 74% CBAs, centre bounce tennises, and then 18, 19, 20 and 21 he's gone 57%, 47, 47 and 52, so a real big drop. And yeah, it's where's Nas, and Nas has jumped, like the last 3 weeks Nas has gone 79, 60 and 83, so St Kilda are obviously trying Nas, and maybe they're thinking that McRae might retire, I don't know, or they're going to use him, I don't know. It's like, even last week, like, Jack Steele only didn't play, or started as a sub and only played 30% CBAs because he started as a sub, and they still didn't give those extra CBAs to McRae. They gave him to Garcia. So, so that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. In the bench, yeah, so I don't know if that means, is he playing injured or is he just not in future plans for St Kilda? I'm not too sure what that means. I'd love to hear what a few St Kilda fans think about that. Is St Kilda trying to just blood the young guys now that their final chances are over, or is this something going forward that they don't really see McRae as a valuable part of that midfield? King Kong Grundy, yeah, Hunter, that's very, very nice. I think my opponent in league did something very, very similar, and I hope you vice captained or captained him for that 400 score too, buddy, because that's pretty awesome. Considering my opponent had him, I was like screaming at the screen, like, no more points, get him on the bench. I kept on yelling, put him on the bench. You won the game, get him on the bench. But no. I mean, I thought when I saw this 202 from English and the 150 from Bont after the first game of the round, I'm like, I'm in a good chance to win this league. And my opponent, he messaged me and he's like, oh, I think, geez, the game's over before it even starts. And I was like, oh, it's always Murphy's Law. I'm like, oh, don't say that. Now you've definitely jinxed me. And yeah, and he came back with he just absolutely smashed me in the end for a 2,900 score. So has anyone got any trades left? Anyone got any trades left out there? As you saw, I used my last one today, and I'm not exactly happy that I had to use it on Marek. It's like a topsy. People are going to be looking at my team going, you kept Marek all this time? No, I had to buy him back in because I couldn't afford anybody else. So, yeah. Oh, someone else who might be worth looking at next year, depending on the role of what's happening, a bit of Tim Kelly in the forward line, less than 400k. We're not, and with a mid-forward status, even though he's had a pretty average season, I think could be another mid-pricer that we could be considering next year. I don't know if I'd be too game to go there, but I don't think we're going to have many choices in the mid-forward DPP status next year to choose from. I can't really, out of everyone here, I think Rankanen is the only one that holds his mid-forward status. I think Warner goes straight mid. Petrarca's probably straight mid. Maybe Petrarca keeps it, maybe. But Daniel will be straight defender. Like people like McCarthy will be straight defender. Marek will be straight defender. Bailey Smith will be straight mid. I can't think of too many players that are going to get that mid-forward status. I think I remember us talking about this, Matthew. Yeah, I mean, hindsight's great, right? Getting in Grundy would have been good, but then we've had some disasters since then, and I know if I could have probably done the same thing, but who I would have had no one to trade for Young this week. I would have had to play like Gross on the field and run with like, hopefully he is the flex, you know, he's the score that gets dropped out or whatever. So I'm happy that I kept the trades, and I think if you guys and the people out there watching listen to me, while a lot of other people were burning their trades and content creators were saying, I think it's all right to come out with 2 or 3 outside the buys, this is where I kind of like to be. Coming into the last 4 weeks, Supercoach finals, I'd like to have at least 1 trade per game. And I had 3 this time, which was reasonable, but not ideal. And so I think, was it 3, and then we might have been 2 because we had to use 1 the week before due to injuries. There's always going to be injuries. Last year there was injuries. This year there's been injuries. Those trades are valuable, and it's one of the reasons I think that my green arrow, why my score has actually been going down, why a lot of other people are going up. Basically, straight up, that I've been able to account for these injuries that have come along. Grundy and Gross ahead. Marshall and Tim Kelly wouldn't have been bad, but Grundy's captain score is probably makes up for that. 1 trade, you got 1 left trade. Nice, Matthew. Keep last trade for obvious last minute carnage. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to ride. I'm ride or die now. Ride or die. We're gonna see what happens, but I don't mind that because I'm in a knockout in my league. So if there's an injury in the last week and I'm not even playing in the Supercoach League finals, well, I'm in the grand final for the premiership, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? My score will go down a little bit, but this is the week. So I'd advise that if you're in leagues and you're in the same kind of position that I am, you didn't win last week, maybe you finished in the top 4, you didn't win last week and you've moved through, or you finished in the bottom 4 and you won and you've moved through to this next week. So this week is knockout. So if you lose here, you're out. So you're not like one of these people in my team. My finals was front and square and Brad, who, funny enough, I beat them both in the last 4 weeks, and they beat me when it counts in the finals. But that's Supercoach for you. If you're not one of these guys, you might as well swing for the fences this week. You know, if you've got trades left, you want to win your league final, you want to win a premiership, you got to go for it. This is the week, if you've got trades, not to hold. You know, there's no point in holding them anymore. And if you get punished next week or the week after, so be it. But if you don't get punished and you say you've got 2 trades left and you can burn both of those trades to get to Grundy, I'd do that. You know, if somehow I could have got, you know, go 1 down or 1 up and got Grundy or another super primo this week, I definitely would have done it. Unfortunately, the Hayden Young issue was enough to put a bit of a blanket over that and make me, I just basically had to buy who I could afford, which was Marek. Hopefully he gets another 140 next week and I'll pretend like I'm a genius. I'll act like I'm a genius. I'll be here saying, oh, I knew he was going to go well. So, but yeah, I think this is the week if you've got trades and you're in those Supercoach finals. If you're not in the finals, you're in the bottom 8 or whatever, and you just want to keep them for, you know, try and get the highest. Maybe you've got a really high ranking, but you've just been a bit unlucky in your leagues and you've already been knocked out of your league, leagues. Then you can hold the trade. You know, there's no need to trade. I'll show you guys. I know we're all here for Supercoach, but I actually play all the other games, and I'll show you what I mean with the other teams that I've got. So classic, this one. So I'll just show you this one. Now, this actually, I don't know if you guys know about this. This is a sports deck, or sometimes it's called the Real Dream Team. It's basically set up exactly the same as Supercoach, as you can see, the setup with the flex, but the scoring is the same as fantasy. So you get the same amount of trades, the same amount of boost to Supercoach and everything, but you get the pricing of the players is the same as what is in the other AFL fantasy leagues, and you get for beginners, it's actually quite good. There's only 7,000 people who actually play this. If you look at the lobby, overall, there's only 7,500 teams in the entire comp, as opposed to almost 200,000 in Supercoach. I'm in 381 this year, up 33 places, and 2,317 is a pretty good score in this league. Your scores are lower than in Supercoach, but why I like this, especially for beginners, one is you get a little bit more money. Your money goes a little bit further than Supercoach, even though the players cost more. Like here, a good player is like, 1.6 million for Holmes, or 15 for Dawson, but your money goes a little bit further, which, as you can see, I would love to have this as my Supercoach team, as I do have McCarthy on the bench, and I still have 3 trades up my sleeve, and in the league, I'm gone straight through in both my leagues I get a free week this week. So since I get a free week this week, there's no need for me to trade. And next week, I might try and get Grundy into the team by doing a sneaky 1 down and 1 up, and then upgrading, whoever I like the best. But if you're a beginner, I definitely recommend running this, and because I love my Supercoach and that. Playing multiple comps, so I also play fantasy, the AFL fantasy game as well. That this year I'm in 14,410 overall. It doesn't tell you how many people in. This used to have more people in the Supercoach, but I wouldn't be surprised if more people play Supercoach now. It used to be around the same, around 200k, but here I've got quite a few. I've got Merit on the bench where I can again, here I've got a 23rd primo. I had a pretty good year in this competition as well. One of the benefits of playing these other 2 competitions is that even though I can't trade in Supercoach, I can have a trade in this ones though. This one you get 2 trades every week, and this one is the same as Supercoach, exactly the same. You get the same amount of trades and the same amount of boosts. So in this competition, I'm in a very good spot to win my league. If my opponents don't have trades, I've still got 3. I'd say this is the perfect scenario coming into finals. If my Supercoach team was like this with 3 trades, and I was in skipping a week this week, I'd be very happy. So anyway, that's just a quick cut on what else I like to do. So yeah, if you're a bit of a tragic like me and you've got time on your hands and you want to play several comps, both of those are good. I think the fantasy one, like I said, is good because it gets rid of that trade itch. If you feel like you desperately want to trade a Supercoach, we get 2 every week in the AFL fantasy. So basically, there's no point almost not to trade every week, even if you're trading just for matchups. Like if you've got one premium who's got a hard matchup and another premium who's got an easy matchup, then just jump. You can just jump from one to the other if you don't have to. Yeah, as you saw, Matthew, there's only 7,000 people in it, and but I like it because it's a combo of both, and it's a little bit easier than Supercoach because you can get, I think your money goes further. Even though the prices of players are more, the money goes a little bit further compared to, you can almost start with an extra premium compared to what you can at Supercoach if you spread your money well. And so I think it's fun. I enjoy it. I don't take it anywhere near as seriously as Supercoach, I don't like the scoring as much for that one and the AFL Fantasy, which scores exactly the same. Just because it doesn't penalise people for being, you can be terrible. You can get 40 possessions and kick every single one to the opposition players, and the opposite player goes out and kicks a goal and gets 40 goals against you. You still get a huge score because you've got 40 possessions. As opposed to Supercoach, you'll probably get negative 30 if you do that. You'll get 40 possessions and you'll get negative 30 as a score. So I always find Supercoach, to me, is more like a real football game. You get penalised when you do, bad things, hurts your team, and if you do good things, it benefits your team. The only things I don't like I'm not a big fan of the scaling and the rule, the 3,300 or whatever the score is, where the maximum from both teams per match is capped out at a certain price. I'd much prefer in Supercoach is the score is the score that you get. Like if you whatever how many possessions and kicks, handballs, whatever, that's what you get. And then for there to be like a limit on scaling, like for scaling, you should never be allowed to be scaled down. Let's put it this way: you should never be allowed to be scaled down. Like if Bont finishes on 150, and then you go back and check 10 minutes after the game's finished, he's on 145 or something. You're like, what happened to those 5 points? That should never be allowed. If Bont kicks the last, winning scoring goal, and the match, there should be a set amount, like a cap out at like maybe the most he could be scaled up as 5 points or 10 points. If you are involved in the winning play of the game, you get an extra 10 points or something. But I kind of prefer just no scaling. You get what you get, and there's no limit. So there's no limit where they max out the points for the game. If you get 1 million points for the game, you get 1 million points. And that's my only gripe with Supercoach. Otherwise, I think this year has been very good. I like the flex position. I can't see. What about you guys? Could you think of any improvements that you guys would think that you'd like to see in Supercoach? And if you're watching this at a later date, don't forget to do that subscribing. If you're watching now, don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a like and comment down below. But yeah, later, if you're watching this later, comment down below any changes you'd like to see in Supercoach. Yeah, and that's why I kind of don't like it, Matthew. They must have a formula or something. Surely there's not just some dude going, I think I'll give Bont an extra 50 points because he got like Nas the other week when he kicked those, 2 goals and won the game or whatever. He got 60 points for that. Those last 2 minutes of the game got him basically 60 points. And so I think that's a bit excessive. Yes, he won the game, but there needs to be some kind of limit. Like maybe the limit is 5 points, 10 points, or no limit at all. That's just how it is. That's the score he got. They're the goals he got. So be it. The fact that he won, the game make no difference. So in some ways, I don't mind the scaling going up, but like I said, I don't think the scaling should ever go down. At the end of the game, they need to get that. They have that maximum cutout number of points that are allowed from each team, and if your players have gone over that, they just take some points off, and that's not really great. If you like that Bailey Dale game where he had like 50 possessions and he didn't score a great score, that should have been a much bigger score, and obviously he was scaled down, which is like I said, I just don't think you should be allowed to scale a player down. Up, fine. If it's something really important, wins the game, up is fine. But down, I don't know about down. So yeah, anything you guys would like to change? I can't really think of anything that I'd like to change. Love the flex. Obviously in the AFL general, I'd love them to get rid of that effing sub rule. That's I don't mind that, Hunter, that those 6 trades are locked. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I mean, yeah, it could keep more people involved. I mean, sometimes you've got to be responsible for yourself a little bit, don't you? And you got to try and get your trades through. But I certainly think it would help a lot of people, and I don't think it's bad. And you're right, it probably would keep people involved because they're still going to log in, they're still going to trade. I mean, obviously Supercoach wants people to log in. I'm sure they make money from their advertising and stuff on the side of the screen over there. So I think that is good. I think the best way to stay, I always say the best way to stay interest in the end of the season is take an interest in your leagues. Like, join a league with some friends, join a YouTuber league. I guess if you're in the bottom 8, you're not as interested. I guess in the years where I've finished in the bottom 8, I'm not as interested, but I'm still keen. It still makes me more... Playing Supercoach makes me more interested in watching footy. I can guarantee you that there's no way I'd be watching, Richmond versus North Melbourne if I didn't play Supercoach, or something. Essendon versus some absolute shellacking where, what was it, the Bulldogs versus Essendon or something the other week where they destroyed them. There's no way on earth I'm watching that game unless I'm a, Supercoach fan and I'm playing Supercoach. And this year, being an Eagles supporter, well, all the last 4 years being an Eagles supporter, Supercoach keeps me interested. I still watch my team play, even though they get whacked most weeks. Yeah, playing Supercoach, it keeps me involved in the AFL, keeps me interested. It also keeps myself and my friends, when we get together, very knowledgeable. We're all very knowledgeable about rookies coming through, and you see other people that don't play Supercoach. You'll go to a party or something and there'll be a few people who play Supercoach there, and we'll be talking and we'll be discussing some Carlton rookie that no one's ever heard of. And people that don't play Supercoach are like, how the hell do you guys know? Who the hell are you guys talking about? How do you know about this guy? He's like, yeah, because we play Supercoach. So, we're actually kind of clued into the teams and who's coming through, and, it gives you a good idea of, who's going to be good the years in the future. Any other suggestions for, what could be good to change in Supercoach? I think we've got enough trades. I know we had a rough go with trades this year, but I think we had more trades this year than we had in the years past. I don't think we need more trades. I think this is enough and enough boosts. We just have to manage them a little bit better. Hey, G-Bags. We did a captain, vice captain, G-Bags. I think they are all good options. Me personally, I'd probably go Holmes. Just because I'm always afraid Baslenka is going to get rested, or, are laid out, or, if they're destroying them, maybe, they get late, they're worried about him. If he's a bit proppy or something, he gets a rest on the bench. Where I think Holmes has shown his potential to go big. I don't think they rest Holmes unless he gets a bit injured or a knock or something. So I'm more bullish on Holmes than Baslenka. Myself, I don't have Holmes. I have Bailey Smith. But my choice over Wanganeen or Bailey Smith, I'm going to go Wanganeen Malira. Just for that exact reason that I said. Bailey Smith could score 150. But then he could get injured, dropped, he could be laid out. I know Wanganeen Malira is going to play. Is there a guarantee he's going to get a higher score than Bailey Smith? No, not really. The matchup is still good for both of them. So, personally, I'm going to go Wanganeen Malira into Bont. But I think all of your selections are really good, and I think Bont is a really good fallback. Holmes into Bont, yeah. Matthew says the same. Matthew's way higher ranked than me, so he seems to think the same as me. Nas, yeah. Normally, if I had another option besides, say, Gawn played early in the matchups, I'd probably pick Gawn, and I even considered picking Rao. The Wanganeen Malira pick for me this week is purely on matchup. They play at Richmond. I think they play Richmond. They play Richmond, yeah. So I'm just thinking that maybe he carves them up in the midfield and gets like 30 possessions and 2 goals. Maybe. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just gets this 100 again. I think he's pretty safe for 100, but you're right, Matthew. You can butcher it a little bit. He's not going to kick the last 2 goals of the game to win the game this week. Well, he might. If he does, that's going to be pretty cool if he does, but I don't think he will. But I think there is a chance that he does dominate that game. Even Sinclair, I think is a viable option for me. I think Sinclair could be reasonable. But if I had Holmes, I'd 100% be going Holmes as my vice captain. Holmes in the Bont. And I have to admit, my captain and vice captain choices for this year haven't been too bad. If I went back and watched my videos, the first third of the season were really good. Got me as high as I've got at the moment. The middle of the season, I had a few hiccups with my captain choices. They weren't all the best, and my recommendations out there to the public. And the last third of the season have been very good. Like, I don't think I've scored less than a 130 for quite some time as my captain scored. Yeah, he needs to start off well. He certainly does. Like, it'd be nice to see him just grab the ball from Marshall and go run down and kick a goal from 50 metres. That's what I would like to see. That's what I would like to see Nats do. You don't want to see him get a few, like, holding the ball and, a few wayward handballs and stuff. Yeah. But I think Bont is fairly safe as a fallback against, no one's ever a sure thing, but Bont is almost as close as a sure thing as you can get, I think. As for not getting a reason, he had these 260s. They were disasters. And I did have him as a vice captain for one of these 60s. But besides that, 99's his lowest score. So really, if 99 is his actual floor, we'll just forget about those 260s and pretend they didn't happen. As a captain score, that's a fail, but it's a lot better than a 60 than a 50 so besides, you really think that he's gonna, on a fail for him, is gonna be like just over 100, but at least it's 100. It's not a complete. I can see if you went the other way around, like say you went a Bont into a Malera or something like that, there could be a world where you could get that 60 as your captain score. Yeah, I like Gawn as a pick. He's got a very good record against the Mr. English. 130, 162, 140. I do like that pick. So I think they both play that same game. So I think they're both almost your best picks. Bont into Gawn or somebody into either Bont or Gawn. Yeah. Is English in a bit of a form, or did he just have a good week last week because it was Briggs and they're kind of, he kind of dominated him around the ground? Do you think there's any chance that English puts up a better, is English in form, or was last week just a good week? Because I was kind of complaining a little bit about English because I got him in 3 weeks ago to replace Cherry, and he went, since I got him in, he went 86, 88, and I was cracking it. I was like, I should have gone Darcy Cameron or someone. And then he went 202, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess it's okay. I guess this week's okay. Not going to game 130 plus, yeah. So I think they're both fairly safe picks. Marek. Not about the C. Maybe the vice captain. If I was absolutely crazy, I'd go the vice captain. If I get knocked out of the Supercoach and I'm not in the grand final, and where do Eagles play in that last week? We can try doing something stupid like that. We can try doing something crazy if you guys like on the last week. If I'm out of the Supercoach finals and it doesn't make a difference, when do Eagles play on Saturday against Sydney? It's probably not the best matchup for them. Maybe we'll pick someone crazy on those ones and hope for something. Be the biggest comeback. No, I think just having this week's very important. I've got to win this. I have to win this week to progress through the finals. So I got to go safe. And if we look at the matchup against my mate Jason Batesy, so he more than likely, let's look at his captain, vice captain choice. So he's got Holmes. So it's going to be, we've both got quite a lot of different players. So he doesn't have Wanganeen Malera. So me vice captaining him gives me an option. But he's got Holmes as an option. He's also got Jordan Dawson, who I don't mind as an option versus the Eagles as well. So he's got a couple options that I don't have. Now he does have some of the similar players. Like he can go... does he have Gawn? He doesn't have Gawn. So... oh yes, he does have Gawn. So he's got a couple... we both got a couple options like that each other don't have. He doesn't have Bont. So... and he doesn't have Nas. And I don't have Jordan Dawson. And I don't have Holmes. So... you know, this could be very... this game basically will probably come down to captain choices, I think. I mean, also I have Raul. I could also try a sneaky one on Raul that he doesn't have, but you know, I think we're just we'll go. You know, the other thing too, a lot of time, a bit of a strategy in your league is to pick a little bit later in the round. So this is something that if you want to get really sneaky, you can leave your VC to later on in the round. So like if you're going your VC Grundy on Saturday night, that's actually quite late. And then that gives you an option if someone like me, if I'm doing, if I'm VCing, which round? Oh, this is the wrong round. Look at the wrong round. So this week, if you say you went Holmes this week, so he plays on Friday night. Now, so you know if your opponent has Holmes, as my opponent has Holmes, which he well might do, you know what his vice captain score is. So you can say, is he going to take that score or isn't he going to take that score? So if Holmes gets a 130, you know he's probably going to take it. So then you can pick someone after that for your vice captain. You can go, well, you know, I've got, you know, the game after that on Saturday. So if it works out, if he does pick Holmes and I pick Nas, then my vice captain will play after his vice captain. So I'll be able to look, if he picks Holmes and Holmes gets 160, and then I play my vice captain after him and I pick Nas and Nas gets 100 or gets 120, I know that I should probably roll the dice and go for Bont. So this is like a finals. You don't do this in a, you know, normally, unless you're looking to like win matches, but you normally take the 120, 125, 130, right? But if Holmes comes out, smashes a huge score, 180, you know, or, you know, something like that. They've got Grundy that gets the 200 and your vice captain gets you 120 or 130. You have to win that match to progress in the league finals. So in that case, you know that more than likely you're going to have to roll the dice and get a better score. So then even if, you know, Holmes gets 180 and my Nas gets 130, maybe I roll the dice and see if Bont can get a 150 or 160 or better, or a Gawn can do that and try and win me my match. So that's a bit of a sneaky way to play when you're in the league finals. Something to you seeing their vice captain before your vice captain. Hey Corey, how you going? Can't believe you won your matchup last week. You had to trade Rosie to win it. If you didn't trade, would have lost by 5 or 6 points. Well done, mate. And you had a draw the week before. Wow, that's a really good rivalry you got going there. That's a real rivalry, mate. Agus Clark wouldn't have counted for me. Yeah. If you didn't trade, yeah, you don't want that score, the 39. Yeah, it's a bit rough for me having the 45 and the young of 12 points. A bit rough. How many of the top 20 scorers do I have? This is a good question. We'll do it line by line, eh? If we go here and we just go to players. Obviously by average. Defenders. Overall average. So Wangani Malira is number 1. I've got 1. Holmes I don't have. Lockyash I don't have. Sinclair I have 2. Whitfield, I've got Whitfield. So we'll just go out of the line. So I've got 3 out of the top 6 in defense. 3 out of the top 6. So obviously you prefer to have a few more than that, but only 3 out of the top 6 in the defense. In the mids, I've got Bont, I've got Dacos, I've got Rowell, I've got Butters, I've got Brayshaw. We won't count Bailey Smith, we'll count him as a forward. And so I've got 5 out of the top 8. I don't have Liberatore, so I've got 5 out of the top 8 in the midfield. Rucks, obviously, I've got 1. I've got Gawn, out of Gawn and Grundy. And forwards, I got Bailey Smith, I got McRae, I got Darcy, I got Rankine, I got Petrarca. So I got 5 out of 6 in the forwards. So yeah, Luke Jackson would have been a great pick at the beginning of the year, and I think I will be definitely, if he's not too expensive, if he's less than 600k, I might just buy him next year as a potential flexi typey player. The other thing I'll be doing next year, this position here will 100% be a non-playing forward ruck position. Non-playing forward ruck. If there is a 99 or 115k ruck that plays, he'll go on my flex. So here, just for having this, learning from this year that this is not ideal having this sitting here. I would really like a Jackson here. That's why I'm prepared to pay a little bit more for Jackson next year. If he keeps his forward ruck eligibility, which I don't think he will. He'll either be a ruck only or a ruck mid. And with what he's played the last end of the season, I think he could be a ruck mid, which is not going to be as valuable, to be honest. So I'm very hoping that he keeps his ruck forward status, but I got a feeling he's not going to. So, so that's not bad. What do we say? We had 3, we had 5, we had 1, and we had 5 here. So probably could have done with a couple more of these really gun mids. Like I still think it's worthwhile having 2 guys which can swap. It just adds that flexibility. But yeah, would love to have having, a Jordan Dawson here. And I guess maybe we just have the rookies that we can swap from up in here, like have these 2 rookies and all the DPPs like we do have here. Maybe that's not as important this year because of the flex, but yeah, it would be nice to, like, instead of Sheasel, be like, Noah Anderson and Jordan Dawson. And back here, would love to have Holmes. If only I could have picked up Holmes when he was like 515k. I think when Holmes was 515k, I paid 590k for Sinclair. And not that Sinclair's been bad, but I could have got Holmes a lot cheaper, and that would have made all the difference, I think. And then I could have picked up Sinclair later, and he could have been in my midfield. I know we didn't really love the fact that we paid for 600k for Harry Sheasel, but he's actually been okay. He hasn't been what we wanted, but if you look at his scores, he's been okay. He's had a few down games, but like if you look from round 13, he did get a 60, but besides that, his lowest scores are 94. So you'd take that every day of the week. That's pretty much, a 600k, 550 player, 550k to 600k range of scores. Before that, he had a few low ones, but we paid up for him. We've kept him all year. He hasn't got injured, touched some wood. So he's actually done better than what it feels like. He's actually done better than what it feels like. Wanganeen Malera, I got him at a good price. That's really good. I got Rowell at a really good price. We made some good moves. We got Rao, Wagon and Malira, both at good prices. Obviously, we picked up Mills cheap, and he's been very good. We paid too much for Sinclair. We paid too much for Zorko, and we probably paid too much for Whitfield. We way paid too much for Bont. Butters was fine. Dacos we got at a reasonable price. Brayshaw was okay. Bailey Smith was cheap. Gorn, Grundy, not much to say there. All the forwards. The forward line has been one which is... I think this year we've been complaining the forward line, with people like Warner and stuff not performing. I really think next year is going to be a big problem in the forward line. We're really going to struggle in the forward line next year to find players that we can depend on to get regular scores. We all know the key forwards. Like, I know a lot of people are wanting to get Jeremy Cameron in for Geelong, and he could kick a massive bag, but you just never know, when it comes to key forwards. And same with Darcy. We got him in. He's been good, but he wasn't he might be the unicorn for their team, but he got, what did he get? He got this 144, and I think we got him in, and he got 73. I think we might have got him in for the 144, or just after. 73, 73, 79, 86, 150, 119. And that's exactly what I expect out of a key forward. Some days they're going to smash it, but they need to get a lot of goals to do that. And yeah, so I think next year we're going to have to take a risk on some of these key forwards, and that's why I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking someone like a Tim Kelly, if he can get into a little bit more form, and he's going to be very cheap, maybe he can be a sneaky dual position player if he holds that defender forward status. Let's have a look and see, who do I think will drop their DPP status next year. DPP, and we'll go by forwards to start off with. So Luke Jackson, he hasn't really played much forward, right? He's playing in the midfield now. Does he hold this forward ruck? I haven't heard anything on Stewart getting rested, but it is Stewart. Probably more likely to get injured than rested, but a possibility for both. But you never know. If they're absolutely destroying a team, they might sub him off, or they might rest him. They got some, easy matchups coming up, so I think it's a possibility. If he rolls up after a training match and he's sore or anything like that, 100%. Corey, I don't want to... Me, personally, I'm never going Jeremy Cameron. Never. I know a lot of other people have said, he could kick 10 goals. He could kick 10 goals, but he might not. At least I think Nas is much more consistent. Nas is much safer. I know they're probably going to be looking for Jeremy Cameron to try and get him up to his, 100 goals. But, I don't think that's going to happen. Cause of the ladies, man. Got VC and C on the rucks. I've heard his name thrown around on the Supercoach Swordplay podcast, and I like those guys. Because it's your VC, Hunter. Because it's your VC, I think if you want to have Corey. I think because it's your VC, you can have a go at Cameron. If you want to be a little bit different, you can have a go at Cameron. He got 94 last week. Do you want that as your captain score? I just think... I know he got... So, look at his last few weeks. Okay, so let's say from the last half of the season, from round 14, he's got 116, 63, 131, 43, 114, 167 and 94. How many of those scores would you be happy as your captain score? Only really the 167 and the 131, right? The 114 and the 116, you don't love it. So it's only really 2 scores in 2, 4, 6 in the last 8 games that Jeremy Cameron has delivered, which you'd really want as your captain score. Let's look at Wangani Malira in the last 8 games or so. So he's gone, 119, 142, 117, 155, 86, 149, 162, 100. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, almost double the amount of scores that you would take as your captain score. And that's why I personally would go Nasiah Wangani Malira as my vice captain. He's just more consistently putting out big scores, and he doesn't have to kick big bags to do it. If he kicks 1 or 2 goals and gets 30 possessions, he'll get as much as Jeremy Cameron will get if he kicks 6 goals and gets 15 possessions. So I just never like making I don't even like picking key forwards, let alone making them your vice captain or captain choices. That's me personally. That's my personal opinion, but I would never. I've heard some other people say he's an option. He's an option, but I would never do it. Seal to be Cherry versus Briggs or Dawson versus Eagle. I think they're both very good picks as well, Corey. I see no problems with either of those. I think they'll both score well. Hopefully Sherry comes back all angry and ready to have a good match. He's been, doing push-ups in his, bedroom or whatever, trying to get himself ready and make sure he's still super fit and everything. I can't see either of those. I mean, Briggs got absolutely destroyed by English last week, and we assume that Sherry's about a ruckman of English most of the time. So he should, crush Briggs, you would think. You would think he should crush him. And Dawson versus the Eagles, the only issue I have with that is if the Eagles are getting absolutely flogged, do they rest Dawson up forward or whatever? But even if they do that, he still might get a few goals. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dawson got 30 possessions and 2 goals this week and had a massive score. I think it's a pretty safe pick. Now these 2 girls joined in the background of it next to me. That's why they are. So you're the ladies. So that is you. Oh, so that's you, Corey, when they're talking about the ladies, man. Yeah, I really like DR and the boys. I watch their podcast every week, and both them and the Code Sports guys. And I really like the stuff they do. It's fun. I played there. They had a bit of a quiz last night, and I played, and I did very well. I have to admit that I think me and Spilsy would have been down to me and him because I got all my answers correct and didn't cross over with Janeth. But I think they're all fun guys, and they all are very good players. And I think they give very good advice, and they go into it and they take pride and and do the research. And so for me, I also like to do a bit of research, but some of my research is watching people like them. I'll watch the Code Sports people and see what they say, let them really crunch the numbers when it comes to captain choices and things like that. And then I'll come to you guys, and I will also offer my personal opinion. So, but I'll also, they might see something or a matchup which I don't see, and which kind of helps when, when I'm talking to you guys, if I'm giving advice as well, that I can kind of fall back and think, oh, wait a sec, there's a reason, that we shouldn't be picking him as our vice captain or as a captain. But yeah, they're really good. They seem like really good guys, and they do a lot for the community, and I really like their work. Well, if you haven't checked already, check them out. Go and check them out and give them a subscribe and a follow. Corey, I'm going to have to remember that you're the ladies' man now. So who do you support then? Yeah, you a Brizzy supporter then as well, Corey? You're not, are you? like DR. It's kind of you won your main cash league. Very nice, Billy Brown. You winning a cash league, that's always nice. I'll probably try and go in a few cash leagues. Maybe I might even run a cash league this next year as well, if you guys want to enter. But I don't know. I feel like I'm good enough to play some cash leagues and have a chance to winning. But at the same time, I'm like, I prefer to do it with people I know than just like random people. So maybe I'll set one up. He had all the big stars. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Just like me, mate. My opponent got 2,900 last week. Biggest score in our entire league, and I just happened to be playing him. Not that the other opponent that I played wouldn't have beaten me as well. Everybody had good scores last week, even though I had a good score. Everyone had a good score. I think my league is made up of mostly my friends with a few people that we don't know. Like, it's not a private league, it's a public league, just to fill it out, because we like to play a full league. There's probably 12 people that I know and 6 that I don't. Maybe 14 people that I know and a few that I don't. So those guys, they had some big scores last week. They like even, did we have it? Let's go to leagues. Yeah, so the top 4. Unfortunately, Dave has been leading all year. Got 2,467. I know he's out of trades. He ran out of trades before the end of the season, but he has one of the higher ranking teams. His team, he's dropped now. He was going for the top 1,000, but since he's lost trades, he's dropped quite a lot. Unfortunately, he went for it. He had a team who was, I think he was inside the top 1,000 one stage, and he just went for it. And that's unfortunate when you do that and use all your trades and then you have injuries. Front and Square got 2,815, who is a 4th place finisher. The guy I played got 2,914, and I got 2,738. And it's also the guy I played last week. Guy who I played this week got 2,778, so he would have beat me if I'd have played him last week as well. So if I had have finished in 4th instead of 3rd, I would have gone through, but I finished in 3rd and I got my butt kicked. Absolutely kicked. Melsham kicked the seal. I'm not too sure if I remember that one, but yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds good. So, Corey, how do you know those boys? Obviously, DR's a Brisbane man, but he lives in Melbourne. Hey, all those boys, I assume, live in Melbourne. But yeah, so do you just know them through talking through Supercoach, or do you know them from like your friends from way back or whatever? I really only discovered those boys this year. Like this year, since I've been doing content, I looked at all the other content creators, and I tell you what, guys, if you're still watching now, give me a like and a subscribe and a comment down below. Even if the comment is just GG or nice one, Seano, or nice, I try to comment on all those videos, but I don't write a big essay or anything. I just say nice, or nice one, or good work, or I like it, because YouTube loves it. YouTube algorithm loves it. It doesn't take very long, and to like the videos doesn't take long either. So, you know, it's free. It's also free to subscribe, and they're out there. They're putting in the effort. They're not really making. It's not like they're making money. These guys, they've got lives. They've got jobs, you know, and they're taking time out of their life and job to talk about something they like. But it still takes, you know, they've still got to put in the effort. You know, these quizzes that they do and stuff. You know, you still got to, it takes time. I mean, I don't know how Janeth has time if he's studying to be a doctor. But, you know, so it doesn't hurt to go around. And anyone you watch, just click that like button And, even just, and you can write anything. You don't have to write a huge essay. You don't have to, say, give me your life story or same to them. Just write, nice one or good work or, nice score or something like that. And, we really appreciate it as content creators. And so I try and do that with everybody. And so I'll watch those boys. I like the Code Sports guys, which is, the Phantom and then Patch and Al Patton. I like those guys as well. I think they do a good job. But then there's quite a few other individual guys like SDS. Scottfather obviously does a great job. Even hopefully he will see some more of him next year. But yeah, I think it's as another creator, I like to go around and check them out, and it's definitely worthwhile giving them and not just for Supercoach, for anything. If you ever watch a YouTube video, work goes into making those YouTube videos. It doesn't hurt you to give it a like. You might as well give them a like. You've known DR for ages. Been to a few games with him, nice. Yeah, I watch Supercoach Edge. He's another one that I watch every week. I kind of like how people have their different styles as well, right? So like Supercoach Edge, it's him on the screen, and he's got his big head right in the middle. Not that he has a big head, but the full screen is him, and he talks and he goes through and he has his different little episode things that's going on. With me, I prefer to have my team up on the screen, and for me up in the corner, nobody needs to see my big ugly head. So I try and watch all those big guys. So I think George also has had a very good team this year, and I watch him. I prefer the ones that are a little bit upbeat too. If they get too down, and there's nothing worse than you're logging in, you're watching a Supercoach content creator, and he's like, oh shit, I've only got, I'm ranked 200th and I'm so unhappy. You're like, Jesus Christ. Get happy, you're ranked 200. It's hard to be ranked 200. I think a lot of them are really hard on themselves. And as for a community, I don't know, do you guys really want to watch someone who's whinging and moaning when he's got a score of 200? He's got an overall ranking of 200. My overall ranking is 6,000, and I'm really happy. For me, this is a good year. Like I say, a pass mark is top 10% for me, and so I think 6,800 is a really good year. And out of 200,000 people, it's not easy to do. I've had plenty of years where I've been in the 30s, or I've had, I think, one year I ended in 40 or 50,000, and so it's not easy to do. And I think if you finish in the top 10%, you should be really proud of yourself, and you've had a really good season. And getting down on yourself, I can understand. If you're really shooting for the top 10, and and something goes wrong and you drop out to 100 or something, you can be a bit disappointed. But I have to laugh a little bit when some of them are like, oh my god, I dropped 100, I dropped 50 spots and I'm in spot 200. I hate this game. I'm like, really? You hate this game? Just started open. Corey, I said earlier on, so I like my sport. I am an AFL tragic, so AFL comes number one over all other sports. I think it's the best sport in the world, and no one's ever going to convince me of that. Obviously, you have a nice fight with the people who like soccer and things, but for watchability, I think AFL is the best sport in the world. But even though I don't mind watching a bit of soccer, I like NBL. I like a bit of NBA. But I won't be doing any Supercoach content on those because I don't think I have the knowledge to give to you guys and girls. So I will, when the Supercoach, if we do the Supercoach finals, if that's a competition, we'll do that. And then I'll probably have a break from Supercoach content until the next season. We'll start very early. As soon as Team Picker comes out next year, we'll be onto it. We'll be making videos. We'll be doing a lot of pre-season content. Going through all the pre-season games and the weeks leading up to the matches, and trying to get a good team for ourselves and help out anyone out there in the community who's trying to get a good starting team, which is obviously a big deal in Supercoaches to have a reasonably good starting team. But yeah, as for NBA and those things, I probably won't be doing any of that myself. I might check out some of those other guys and the other boys and see how they go. But yeah, for me, I think I don't think I have the knowledge for you guys to be doing that. But yeah, definitely, like I said, when you check out one, whether it be me or especially these other guys, especially the ones that put in a lot of work into their channels and research and graphs and all this stuff, make sure you give them that like and make sure you subscribe. I mean, it's free. It's free. It doesn't hurt you. It's just a click of a mouse. You might as well do it. We got anything else to talk about today, crew? Yep. So, I mean, trying to think of anybody else that I watch who I think are pretty good. There's one other, who is it? Who's the other guy that I like? He's a bit of fun. He hasn't had the best year, but I enjoy watching his stuff. He's usually, even when he's a bit down, he's not that down. Let's have a look. Shorty Supercoach. The guy, he looks exactly like McCarthy. I called him in one of his things. I'm like, "You're Tom McCarthy, right?" He's got a bit of one on mustache like Tom McCarthy. You've had your best year this year. Congratulations. That's it's awesome. No Bont and popular players scoring well means you can't get the 2008. I mean, the 2,700 I got last week might be my highest score ever. It's very hard to get 2,800, 2,900. Like, in years past, at this time of year with a fully completed team, if you're getting 2,700, that's a big score. These scores this year have been insane. 6K at the moment. I mean, this is definitely not my best year, but it's not bad. Great, he's hopeless as Supercoach. I just think he's just been a bit unlucky this year. I've been watching him every week, Hunter. I think he's been a bit unlucky. Like, Supercoach can go that way. It doesn't matter how good you think you are. If a few things go wrong, a few injuries, a few bad picks, a few bad captain choices, like literally the first third of my season, slapping the captain on Gorn got me to rank 2000. If I didn't have Gorn and I wasn't slapping the captain on him every week, there's no way I'd be as high a score as I am now. It's just, it can make a massive, like those things make a massive difference, your captain choices and stuff. So I think, if you're a bit, it doesn't take much to get a bit unlucky and to have, a lot of injuries or, a player or vice versa. You might, if you picked Grundy at the right time, you're just laughing now. Where a lot of us, I mean, I didn't see the last, 2 seasons of Grundy, or last season of Grundy was super average. There's no way I even considered picking him. Like, by the time I even thought that Grundy was an option, he'd already gone up so far in price that he was unattainable. He was unattainium. Rather, yeah, exactly. And except for me, who got a 12 with Hayden Young and had to take the Butters 45. But in general, I like the flex too. I think the flex is good because of that exact reason. It does help get higher scores. I think the extra trades and that this year too, the trades and the boosts have allowed people to get an extra premium on the bench. There's not been too many, like we're talking not only the flex, but people are having a 23rd premium. I can't remember too many years where I've had a 22nd premium in years past, just because of the amount of trades we've had. Normally when my team's complete, it's complete and I might have some decent coverage, but having a full-on, like almost premium player, like some people have got like a merit that they're sitting on the bench or whatever, that is almost unheard of in the, if you go more than a couple of years back. So I'm thinking it's going to take a little bit to adjust. I'm hoping that I'm going to play better next year. I've got some plans already. We've already written it down. We will do an end of season review video, and even though we'll go to we did a mid-season review video, and we'll do an end season review video, and we're going to make notes about what we're going to do next year, and then we'll take those notes out when next year comes out and when we're picking our teams. Trying to help hold Sherry. I mean, you've been in the top 500 the last 3 years, Hunter. That means there'd be very, very, very few players that do that. There wouldn't even be 1% of the Supercoach competition that have done that. There might be. I'd be surprised if there are more than about 20 people in the entire competition that are able to go in top 500 in 3 years in a row. I mean, just means you're doing something right. Maybe you should be giving us ideas, because that's a real achievement. That's something really, really amazing. 3 rucks have been handy for flex. Yeah, I don't think I will be going the 3 ruck option next year. I still think it screws up your flexibility unless your ruck has DPP, and that's what I'm hoping that Jackson. So my plan, I already know my plan next year. My plan is to have hopefully Jackson, who's either going to still be mid forward ruck, or he'll be mid ruck in the DPP, and then I'll have either 2 big boy rucks or a big boy ruck and a value option, whatever's out. If there's a 100k dude, this is what I said earlier, this player will be a non-playing player next year. I don't care if there's a 100k playing ruck. If I want that 100k playing ruck, he'll be in my flex. This will be a non-playing player that has a DPP, unless if there's a playing player who's a ruck and has DPP, fine. If Sims here is, bargain basement price of 100, like if you had started Archer Reed from the Eagles this year in this position, that was brilliant. I think someone like a Janeth did it at Sword Play, and that's brilliant. If that's an option, great. Otherwise, this position will be a non-playing DPP player, and I will have hopefully Jackson here, Dogger, and I don't think we'll be able to afford English at the beginning of the season. We're all going to want him, but I think I'll just go like a Gorn again or a Sherry, whichever one I think is a better value at a Gorn or Sherry, and maybe Gorn and Sherry, and hope that we can jump up to a Grundy if he persists, or hopefully Grundy comes down at some point. Marshall and TDK could be. TDK is going to be very cheap, but am I happy to run him? If he's solo, sure. If there's like Pitnett's, not playing, or TDK goes to another club where he's a solo ruck, that'd be great. If he goes to St Kilda and Marshall and TDK play together, it could be the end of both of them. Yeah, I just don't like, because I had the Flynn for Flynn from the Eagles in there for a while, and I just didn't like it's called the flex to offer you flexibility, but having someone there who you can't move around except for from the ruck I found it difficult. It probably cost me points having that ruck here, just because I couldn't move people around where I wanted to get it. So next year, even if my TDK is super cheap, I'd have the 2 of them there, and then my DPP here with the ruck. If I have to go a good ruck and a cheap ruck again, TDK was decent value this year. If we had to do that again, I'm happy to do that. Don't think I'll be paying. If Grundy starts the year at 700k, I'm just not paying for it. I will I'll deal with it. I think I'm only going to be prepared to pay up for. I'll probably get Bont next year, no matter the price. If Bont is 680 at the beginning of next year, I'll just get him. And he's probably maybe the only one that I'm going to be paying more than 650 for. Otherwise, that's going to be the plan next year. They're going to be, almost the whole team's going to be 550. All the premiums are going to be around that 550 or less mark. Zach Reed to Flynn. Yeah, that was a bit right. That's when he came back and then went back out again, or he didn't do too. He came back and didn't do too well. No matter what, as mid-roll's massive. I'm not paying 650k for Nas. I'm not doing it. I don't care how good he is. He's not Bond. I don't think he will. I mean, Bond can literally come out and score. Even he showed this year that he went down. Even the Bond can go down. But I think the only ones I'm paying 650k for, guaranteed captain, vice-captain choices. So, say it's Bont, Gawn, Sherry. That's my 3 every week captain, vice-captain choices. I paid the 650 for them, or 600 for them each. Whatever, and then nobody else is over 650. I'm sorry, Nas, I love you, you're number one, but I'm not paying 650 for you. Just really proved to us this year, everybody comes down. Like Whitfield was 600, came down. Sinclair was 600, came down. Zorko was 600, he's less than 500 now. I mean, he's going to be, if he stays at this price, he's going to be a bargain next year. So I'll be looking to start Zorko next year, even though I started him this year, but if he's less than 500, boom, he's a starter. If Whitfield's anywhere less than 550, boom, he's a starter. I mean, even Dale, if Dale's at 480 or whatever, he's a starter. That's my midfield could look very similar to this at the start of next year, except without Wanganeen Malera. Potentially 3 of these boys. If Sinclair was 540, I think this is reasonable. My starting team could be Sinclair, Whitfield, Zorko, and then 3 rookies. Gone to Zorko, yeah, that's right. So people like Zorko are the ones I'm looking for, where proven primo, it's fallen a bit. I'll check out his role in the pre-season. If he has the same role and he's at this price, I don't see how you can go past him. Yeah, yes, he hasn't had the best year ever, but at the price, 480k for a player that's averaged 104, you'll take that every day of the week. You have to take that every day of the week. So that's so then we go, there's no way I'm paying over 600k for Matt Rao. Nope. Nick Dacos, 650k. I'd like to, but I'm not doing it. Butters, if he stays around this price, definitely considering a starting option like the Bunters, the Bonters, whatever you want to call it. Combo at the beginning could be a thing, Brayshaw, if he stays around this price, I think he could be another valid option. We got him for around this year, and he was very good to us, even though he's been a bit off the last few weeks. Bailey Smith as a mid only, 540. I'm probably not going there just because of durability. She's at this price, I think it's a buy, but he's going to be probably straight mid. Is he a buy at straight mid? I think he could be. I think you can pick Sheasel as a straight mid at 520k next year. I don't think that's outlandish. Again, 520 for a K player that averages 103. I think you take that. If she's is a mid forward, he's a must-have. Under 550 mid-forward, lock him in. Number 1 midfielder. I'll call it right now. Depending on whether Luke Jackson gets to the world, but if he's mid-forward, he'll be the number 1 mid next year. He'll be the number 1. I hope so. I don't know. I think he might just get straight mid. I think he might get straight mid myself. And then the forward line is going to be very, very tricky. I'm not even going to predict. I got a feeling the forward line is going to be very cheap next year. Like maybe one primo and then a lot of, if you got more expensive rookies, rookies that are going to play like 200k jobs. Like we had Sound Power Pepper this year, and do we have a few others like, Bailey Smith was cheap. I won't see many of him. Like it might be mid prices and very cheap, either returning players or high touted rookies that are going to play. So I think the forward line is going to be very tricky. Yeah, so Max King not going there. A Philippou, yep. Considering those type of players, because if you get a Philippou, you can get 70 anyway, right? So if you get Philippou for 300, why are you paying for Warner for a 70 or with 470 if Philippou's like 320 and he can get the same score? So that's why I'm thinking that you're going to go pretty cheap in the forward line. And I think I'll go back to the way that we used to do it. This year we tried to stack the defense and it didn't really work for us. Stack the midfield, go a couple of big dogs and rookies in the defense, and get whoever you can on, and go big in the forward, go big in the rucks, set and forget rucks, and then go cheap in the forward line where a lot of your primos in the forward line are still going to be able to score low scores, like we saw with Jazza Cameron earlier on today. I'm not paying 500k for Jeremy Cameron when he can score a 60. You might as well pay for Philippou and get a 60. Or even a Max King, can get you a 60. So I think that's going to be the plan next year. Anyway, guys, I think that might be enough for today. Don't forget to subscribe and, leave me a comment down below and hit that like button. And I'd like to thank everybody who watched today. And if you're watching in the future, thank you for watching. We had Corey, we had Unter, Corey the ladies man. Matthew was also here. G-Bags was here as well. Okay, so thank you guys. Thanks for you guys for having a chat with me in chat. Really appreciate the chat. Really love these live videos. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Good luck to everyone this week. May all your scores be big hundreds. May your captain score be a 400 plus again. And may your team crack 3K. Tricky as that might be. So I hope everyone has a great week. Enjoy the footy this week. And I hope you all have a good day. And I will speak to you all again very soon.